This is About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills, author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Sit back and enjoy.
Greetings, fam. Today, I'm talking about teaching children to be entrepreneurs. And I'm going to give a shout out to a recent commenter, Virtuous Woman, for suggesting this topic. You know what? I've talked about the education system and everything, really teaching children to be entrepreneurs. But the reality is, that's probably on a whole scale level, probably decades from now, when it will be when entrepreneurship will be the norm for the average person. But right now, children can be taught, and in fact, they should be taught. I mean, really, a lot about business I learned really came from my family, not anything in school. Now, when I was young, I was a part of a program. It was called Junior Achievers, where I learned a little bit about business, but really, it was a lot of bull with that. So I'm not going to get any alumni of that program pissed off with some stuff I could say about it. But a lot about business I learned just as a child. You know, I had a grandmother who owned rental property, and even though I didn't always witness her interactions with her tenant, you did get an idea about business from being around her. And also, like my uncle and aunt one time, they had a business for a minute. They had a business. It was an interesting reason why they had to get out of the business, but I won't go on into that publicly. But I learned a lot there. They had a little takeout place in this neighborhood, and sometimes you can learn about something by seeing what doesn't work. And it was a valuable experience because I saw it didn't work, but part of the reason was, and I knew this as a 10-year-old, I was like, y'all don't get a lot of people around here. Now I would use the word traffic, but back then I just say, there's not a lot of people around here. Who's going to buy stuff from here? And I was saying that. And, they found out later that there was another very specific reason why the previous owners were able to get customers. I can't get into that on the air, but I learned from that. And even when I was young, the first business I did was taking people's groceries from, helping them carry their groceries home when I was about 8 or 9 years old. Especially a lot of young women and stuff, and they were nice. They give me like $1 or something. In 1970s terms, that was a lot of money. You could get a lot. You get a couple quarters. You could get at least a good candy bar or something, right? And then as I got older, I would never got into cutting people's grass, but when it's other than my own, didn't get into it, especially since most of the people in my neighborhood would cut their own grass anyway. Cheap. But they ain't like shoveling their own snow, though. So I used to make some money shoveling people's snow, clearing off their steps and their driveways and stuff, right? And I think the best way to really teach children about being entrepreneurs is just really to start them off. Now, like little kids want allowances. Little kids because they want to buy their little things. Instead of just handing them money, which can actually set up a bad precedent, I'll say, okay, you got to work for it. Like my sons, when they get money from me, they have to do something. They have to shoot. They have to come over here and they got to be vacuuming and dusting and all of that stuff. Because if they want money, and and the funny thing is, they don't even think to like just ask me for money straight away. If they want something, they'll just say, hey, what do you need cleaned up around here? They will clean up. If you say, shoot. In fact, my son's grandfather, that's how he got my youngest one to learn how to tie his shoes. He just held some money out and say, look, you get that thing right, here's some money for you. Now, I know some people will say, nah, he shouldn't be getting money for that. But here's the thing with my sons. They understand that nothing is free. And see, you could have them do little things. Just giving them a chore and just say, okay, I'm going to give you money for this. This is your allowance. You got to work for it. In fact, it's their little job. And if they don't do the job, you just say, hey, you ain't getting no money yet. And I've told my sons that, One of my sons was vacuuming and I looked at a spot. He was like, okay, I'm finished. Where's your wallet? I'm just like, I don't know where my wallet is because I'm looking at that spot over there and it's still the same little specks that was over there to begin with. All right. So, you just start them off with little stuff. Like in some better neighborhoods, I see little kids with that lemonade stand. And that's, that's some basic stuff, but that teaches a lot right there. That teaches customer service, how to create a great product. Like a lot of people will support, they see some little kid out there. A lot of people nice enough to go out there and deal with them, give them some money. But if they want repeat customers, they're going to have to create a great product. And see, you could teach a child a lot. Just have them do stuff. It could be in a neighborhood. I remember when I got a little bit older, my grandmother used to rent me out to people. I used to be like, she'll say, hey, I want you to go over to this woman's house, clean up for her. She'll give you some money. And, I would be like, Grandma, I got something to do that day. And she'll look at me. It was like, and she'll laugh. She'd be like, oh, you talking like you have a choice in this matter. But, she was just teaching me how to go out there and get money. That was the bottom line. Then there's always something to do. Just when you have little kids, just start them off doing little stuff. That's their job. Start them doing little stuff. You probably have the money anyway. But get them used to having to work for whatever that they're going to do. And, you could have them, like the cleanup thing. You can have them go over some people's houses that you trust. And let me put that out there before, you always get that one person to say, oh, you going to tell them to go over people's houses and work. It's like, no, do it. I'm specifically saying go over someone's house that you trust. All right. Have them do some things. And, as they get older, they can become more enterprising. And I remember in this neighborhood I used to live in, had this young kid, he was 11. He had the grass cutting business on lock. And he had a little crew, too. And, I always knew I needed to cut my grass because they'd knock on my door and say, sir, you need your grass cut? And I hate to say it. If I had extra money at the time, I would say, yeah, go ahead. But I was just like, nah, I got it. And then I would sigh because I was like, damn, I got to go ahead and cut this grass. Because they would only check houses where the grass wasn't cut. But and it was a good size. It was a good size little subdivision. So they came back with some money and, snow. They were professional about it. They had the rakes, bags, everything. They didn't play. They did a great job. And like I said, these kids, the crew leader was 11. Now, this is the type of kid now. He was 11 at the time. He's probably just graduating high school now. But he's already getting started. So just get them doing little stuff. Just start them around the house. You give them a little bit of money. As they get older, maybe have them do some things for other people. And then they can get to the point they can just go out by themselves. Depending on the neighborhood. You might be able to set up like a little lemonade stand, or even if you're in one of those places that like to have a lot of yard sales. The neighborhood I live in, there's always a yard sale. Always. You can get them used to, just having the stuff out there and letting them handle most of the business. And sometimes too, now I've talked about vending on here. Now it just popped in my head about this time I did this vending show, right? And I had this little 7-year-old kid who was helping me sell stuff. This kid was 7. This dude was on that business. People thought he was my kid. I was like, it was just funny. But he was hustling people. He was at my table. Shoot, I had to give him a little bit of money. And the funny thing is, he was there with his mother. She was selling her own stuff. That dude was working. He was selling stuff at both our tables. I was like, I had to break him off a little bit. I had to break him off a little bit of my cut. I was like, here you go, kid. You done earned a commission. But he had the right idea. Do that, especially for some of y'all who are vendors and y'all got some kids, bring them along. I think about another thing. It's like this stuff is just popping in. Like, if you have a business, have them work in the business. Like, I'll end with this story, right? There was this bookstore, a little small bookstore I could always do a book signing with. Like, consistently. All I had to do was contact dude. He would, I could say, hey, man, I need to make some money. He said, come on out. It was like a regular gig. I could do a book signing with him maybe once a month. Make a good bit, right? One time I was at the store, I was setting up my table. The way I would do it is I would set up right outside the store, right? And then when people had to get the book, I would say, okay, you take it in there, pay for it, bring back the receipt, and I'll sign it for you, right? Well, this bookstore owner, he had a daughter, cute little girl. Man, that girl was slick. Because she would just, how little kids are. If they like you, they just sit up there and just talk with you and everything. So she's sitting up there talking with me. And when people would come by, she could size up people. She was like, he ain't going to buy the book. He going to buy it. She ain't going to get it. Now she going to. I mean, she knew it. And she could. And here's the funny part. She could pick out a person. She said, yeah, get them, call them over. That person come over. I'd sign a book. She would take him inside, be working the register and stuff. This child was about 8. she was a beaut. She probably got like 3 or 4 stores now. Cause let me see, what year was that? So she got to be in about maybe her late 20s now, maybe her 20s. Definitely in her 20s now, right? She probably got 3 or 4 things going on already. She was on it. So, just do those things. Just get them used to it early. Just get them in that mindset early. And it's very simple to do. Like I said, just start around the house and then let them work from there. If you have a business, just have them around. Because they will pay attention to everything you do. So, there you go. All right, y'all. Let the parents and the kids go make that money.